Canadians, I want to express my deepest condolences to those who are mourning the loss of a loved one. Your loss is indescribable. This is a heartbreaking tragedy. While no words will erase your pain, I want you to know that an entire country is with you. We share your grief. Dans les moments les plus tragiques, les Canadiens ont l'habitude.
In the most tragic of times, Canadians are used to being there for each other. For the communities who are mourning today the loss of a loved one, we will be there for you.
In the coming days and weeks, our government will continue to work closely with its partners to ensure that this crash is thoroughly investigated. Canadians have questions, and they deserve answers. Minister Champagne will be speaking with the Iranian Foreign Minister and conveying the need for a thorough investigation into this fatal crash. Le ministre Champagne s'est entretenu avec le gouvernement.
Mr. Champagne has consulted appropriate officials and authorities as well as our partners.
De son côté,
for his part, Minister Duran is working closely with officials at Transport Canada and has communicated with his international counterparts.
Today, I spoke with President Macron, Prime Minister Johnson, President Trump, and Australian Prime Minister Morrison to discuss the matter. They all expressed their deepest sympathies to the families and to all Canadians and offered their help and support. These calls built on the conversations I've had over the past few days with Chancellor Merkel, NATO Secretary General Stoltenberg, EU Council President Charles Michel, and His Majesty the King of Jordan. About an hour ago, a Ukrainian Airlines plane just landed in Toronto from Kiev. According to the airline, there were 138 passengers who weren't on that flight because they died in the crash on the earlier leg of their travel. There are a number of steps being taken to support the families at Pearson Airport. Right now, our top priority remains the safety and security of all Canadians, may they be at home or abroad. Friends and relatives of Canadians believed to be on board should contact Global Affairs Canada's 24/7 Emergency Watch and Response Centre. Canadian citizens in Iran requiring consular assistance should contact the Canadian Embassy in Ankara, Turkey. To the families grieving, know that the Government of Canada and all Canadians are grieving with you. We will support you in the incredible, difficult weeks and months ahead. This somber day comes in the wake of deeply concerning events in Iraq. Canada condemns the missile attacks launched by Iran last night. I am relieved, as are all Canadians, that all personnel deployed in Iraq are safe. I'd like to take a moment to thank once again the women and men in uniform who have worked hard with our allies to stabilize Iraq and counter Daesh. Their mission is important, and we can all be proud of their work. Je vous assure que nous prenons toutes les précautions.
I assure you that we are taking all the precautions necessary to ensure the safety of our civilian, military, and diplomatic personnel. We are continuously communicating with our international partners, and we will keep opposition parties updated on the changing situation. We continue to encourage a de-escalation of tensions and a dialogue in the region. Once again, thank you for being here today, and I will now take your questions.
One question, one follow, and we'll try to keep questions and answers short so we can get as many people in. David Cochran, CBC. Hi there, Prime Minister. I know you've condemned the missile attacks that happened at the military base. I'm wondering if you can do a couple of things. Can you confirm whether there were Canadian forces on that base in danger during the attack? And second, it was a retaliation to the drone strike ordered by the U.S. president that he says was ordered to stop an imminent attack, an assertion for which he's offered no proof. Do you trust Donald Trump's assertion that the drone strike was necessary to stop an imminent attack?
First of all, I can confirm that there were Canadians at the Canadian base in Erbil when the rockets landed, but they are all safe. Canada has long been aware of the threat posed by the IRGC on regional and global safety and security. That is something we have long been aware of. The Americans made a decision based on their threat assessment. We continue to work to counter Daesh in the region. We'll continue to work to stabilize Iraq and its institutions to ensure peace and stability in the region and call for de-escalation.
Repatriation of Canadian bodies and the investigation. Can you get access given your relationship, your diplomatic relationship there, or will you have to rely on other countries to get that access?
First of all, our initial thoughts are, of course, focused on the families who woke up to terrible, terrible news this morning. We will provide them all the support necessary. We have already begun reaching out and will continue to support these families through some very, very difficult few days ahead. As we move forward, we've had many countries step up to offer their support and assistance as we move forward, whether it's Ukraine or countries like Australia, Italy, France, to assist us in our consular work on the ground. As I said, Minister François-Philippe Champagne will be engaging directly with his Iranian counterpart to request assistance and a presence by Canada, both in Tehran, but also as part of the investigation.
President Trump, earlier today, demanded that NATO be more committed to the process in the Middle East. Does this include Canada? What can Canada do more right now? In my conversation with the President, I highlight how Canada is part of the NATO mission when it comes to training in Baghdad. We've been working on that mission, and we will continue to support international partners, including NATO, in this region. We need to stabilize Iraq. We need to counter Daesh. There's going to be discussions with partners in the region and NATO members to see what the next steps will be. Missions are being suspended in Iraq. Are Canadian troops all in Kuwait right now? In your opinion, do we have to quickly re-undertake our missions? We do have troops in Kuwait, but we also have troops in Iraq right now. Yes, we should continue our mission to fight against Daesh. We have extraordinary men and women who serve in the Canadian forces. I think it's important to continue this mission against Daesh.
Steve Shear from Reuters. Prime Minister, can you, we've heard from intelligence officials in 3 countries that the initial assessment was that there was a technical failure that brought down the plane and not an errant missile given the timing. Can you confirm that? Can you rule out any of the causes of the accident?
Obviously, we are very, very early days on the investigation. It's dangerous to speculate on possible causes, but I will turn to Minister Garneau, who will speak a little more on the details that we know so far on the crash.
So we cannot speculate at this point as to the cause of the tragic air accident that occurred about 2 minutes after taking off. The indications we have from satellite data that we got from the Ariane system suggests that it took off in a normal fashion, climbing to altitude, a very, very standard departure. However, we lost contact with it, suggesting that something very unusual happened, but we cannot speculate at this point. There are a number of possibilities, and we will have to wait to obtain more information, perhaps from the black boxes, or from other intelligence. But at this point, it's too early to speculate.
expected to hand over the boxes. How do you think that you will get that information? I mean, I know that Minister Champagne is going to speak tomorrow to his Iranian counterpart, but since there are no direct diplomatic relations, are you planning on leaning on other countries like the Ukraine?
Thank you. First of all, Transport Canada and GAC offered to the Ukrainians all technical assistance that they might wish to try to help in the investigation of this particular accident. It's also true that the Transportation Safety Board, which is the body that does investigations here in Canada, is also going to be involved because there were Canadian nationals on the flight, and